Welcome to From the PressBox. We have a very special show planned for you today.
Yes, very special. It's our NFL Draft Show. And on today's show, we'll dive deep into the NFL Draft and give you some names to watch out for.
One name that's been floated around a lot during the draft buildup is Stanford tight end Coby Fleener.
Some scouts believe that Fleener may be the most overrated prospect in this year's draft, and that it's not hard to believe because he wasn't even the best tight end on his team.
True. This guy's an awful blocker, not really a true receiving threat, and he benefited a lot from playing with Andrew Luck.
Needless to say, I hope my Cowboys do not pick him.
One team not unfamiliar with picking less than talented players is the Cleveland Browns.
A recent study showed the Browns are last in the league in producing All-Pros through the draft, selecting just 2 players who have made the AP All-Pro teams in the last 10 years.
One of those 2 was 2005 first-round pick Braylon Edwards, who, although turned out to be an All-Pro, it's hard to view this pick as a success for the Browns.
The other player was 2007 first-round pick Joe Thomas, who no one can argue has been anything but a success for the Browns.
With big-name rookies such as Luck and RG3 entering this year's draft, many experts believe that the rookie wage scale will result in more trades in the top end of the draft. But it's one of those things that's yet to be seen. So how do you feel?
I mean, I agree with it because it's more cost-efficient to move up versus paying those rookies those big contracts. So in saying that, I think that us seeing those large rookie contracts will become less likely in future drafts.
I don't think that it's going to result in more trades because I think those picks just became more valuable to those teams because you can take a player that's talented at the top, and even if he does bust, you didn't necessarily pay him as much as you used to. So I don't think you're going to see as many teams wanting to trade out of those picks.
Another huge topic of discussion is the NFL's battle with concussions and how it will affect the future of the game. Recent medical discoveries regarding the long-term health risks arising from concussions have created, with the help of a congressional hearing and the threat of lawsuits, an unprecedented sensitivity to the subject at the NFL level.
And those who now have at their disposal everything they ever could or should know about the hazards aren't putting down their helmets and walking away from the game. The NFL Draft will determine the initial employment destination of 253 eager applicants. After that, at least 300 more who aren't drafted will sign free agent contracts.
Well, earlier this week, Matt Ryan and Sean Witherspoon gave their opinions on the NFL Draft, so let's see what they had to say.
Ultimately, it's all about just keeping the right people around you and just staying positive because you never know what can happen. So I just advise those guys to send up those prayers and just wait it out and enjoy it.
It's fun to watch those guys. It's an exciting time for them. But Friday I'll be dialed in. I'll be paying attention and seeing what we do, and then through the weekend as well. They're guys that are going to be teammates in a couple of days, and hopefully. During that period, we'll bring in some guys that can contribute to what we want to do next year.
It's always interesting to hear a current player's point of view on the NFL Draft.
It is.
But we're going to go to a break, and we'll be right back after this.
We don't win unless we work together. It's how we play our best.
It's how we survive on the field.
Now that same teamwork can save 13 million people
affected by the famine, war, and drought in the Horn of Africa.
Go to this site
and forward the facts to everyone you know.
The more people who know,
the more money we can raise.
And the more money we raise,
the more people we can help.
Because saving lives doesn't take a lot.
It just takes a lot of us.
Welcome back, and now it's time for the moment you've all been waiting for, our NFL mock draft. So let's get started here, Jamal.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to start off at 17 because, I hate hearing about the top all the time. I won't, just because your team did well doesn't mean that you shouldn't hear about it.
True.
So I'm going to start at 17, the Bengals, and I have them picking Stephon Gilmore out of South Carolina. He's a solid player, and he fits right into this Marvin Williams defense. He's going to be able to start from day one, and they lost Jonathan Joseph last offseason, and they've had injuries, and they've been playing Pac-Man Jones. Seriously, you can't win with him playing. So I have him picking a solid player. He's good. He's going to be able to come. He's going to bring his lunch pail to work every day, and he's going to do what he has to do.
And it's funny that you mentioned a former Cowboy. But anyway, I'm going to go with my 18th pick. The San Diego Chargers should go with Courtney Upshaw. He's an outstanding linebacker, and he knows how to use his strength, which is key when you're trying to shut down those tight ends. Upshaw doesn't have that incredible speed, but I can see him with the Chargers as a pass rusher.
Okay. The next pick at 19 are the Bears, and I have them taking Michael Brockers out of LSU. And you got to think, when the Bears made their Super Bowl run, they had Tommy Harris in the middle, and he was making that push. And now they have Julius Peppers on the edge, but they don't have a guy in the middle pushing that line and closing the pocket down, making his life easier. Michael Brockers can do that. This guy is long and athletic, and his arms are going to change passing lanes, making quarterbacks hold on that ball just a little bit longer, enough to probably double almost Julius Peppers' numbers, maybe.
Okay, and at number 20, the Tennessee Titans could use a double threat inside the trenches, and that threat is Dontari Poe. At 6'3" and 346 pounds, Poe is running a 4.9. So that is going to allow him to get to the quarterback, and his size will allow him to clog up those running lanes.
Okay. At 21, I have the Bengals picking again, and I have them going corner again. I have them going with one of the biggest steals of this draft, in my opinion. It's going to be Janoris Jenkins out of North Alabama. Yeah, he has red flags off the field, but on the field, this guy is dynamite. And you have to take reaches sometimes. And as I said, Jonathan Joseph left to go to Houston last offseason, and then Leon Hall hurt himself last season. And you never know how the ACL injuries are going to affect. Yeah. So you have to bring in this. And in the NFL today, you need around 3 good corners just to compete with the receivers that are getting thrown on the field. So I haven't taken 2 here to have a good young secondary for years to come.
And I'm thinking the number 22 pick, the Browns should select the UGA tackle Cordy Glenn. Last season, Browns running back Peyton Hillis, who isn't really injury prone, did get hurt, and Hillis is now with the Chiefs, but the Browns should scoop up Glenn so that they can potentially protect that future running back that they get.
Okay, at 23 it's the Lions, and I'm thinking, you look at their offense, they're a pass-first offense. You got Kelvin Johnson. Javid Best is more of a receiving threat out of the backfield than a running back. Matthew Stafford is a good quarterback, but he's a little bit injury-prone because he gets put on his back so much. So they have to stack up this offensive line. I'm going Jonathan Martin out of Stanford. The tackle is going to help keep Matthew Stafford on his feet a little while longer.
Yes. And at number 24, the Pittsburgh Steeler Nation should go with Alabama inside linebacker Dante Hightower. The Steelers have veteran linebackers on their roster, and of course, age does play a factor. So Hightower will be a useful addition to that line, to add youth to that inside linebacker position.
Okay, at 25, it's the Broncos, and I have 3 letters for you, BPA, best player available, and that's what the Broncos are going to do here. Yeah, they brought in Peyton Manning. You got to get a receiver to pair with him. Kendall Wright, this guy is great. He has speed, he has the IQ, and he's going to come into this Peyton Manning offense, and he's going to be Peyton's go-to guy because if you look at their receiving core, they just don't have that guy at the moment.
Yes, and at 26, Houston is in need of a new pass rusher because their best player on defense last year, Mario Williams, now plays for the Buffalo Bills. And certain players from USC typically have longevity with the teams they get drafted by, but I'm curious to see how Nick Perry is going to fare out if he goes to the Texans there, because that's where I'm kind of seeing him.
Yeah, I think he'd fit in well there.
Okay, and we need you all to stay tuned. We'll be right back after the break.
Up, college is hard. Down, those books are heavy.
My sport is football, but my passion is education.
Right up here.
So every year, I take promising high schoolers on a college tour
Lights there, darts there.
to show them that higher education means a brighter future. My name is Nnamdi Asamoah. I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
You can be a reader, tutor, or mentor too. Take the pledge at liveunited.org/volunteer.
Do you wear this?
Welcome back to From the Press Box. Now, earlier in the show, we mentioned who we thought would go where, but now we actually have where they're landing. So, Jamal, let's take a look at the board. Now, I have to say that this draft this year is beyond belief, but one of the things that was just so obvious was Andrew Luck ending up at number 1 with the Colts. The Colts were 2-14 last season. They got rid of veteran quarterback Peyton Manning, so they needed a quarterback. So this pro-style offense that Andrew Luck was used to playing at Stanford will carry him on and allow him to be a great asset to the Colts who play a similar offense. Now it's going to be a matter of if he'll start immediately, and I think he will.
Yeah, he's going to be thrust in that starting lineup, and you have to think that that shadow from Peyton Manning is going to be just cast over him a little bit with the expectations, but the veteran leadership on that offense is going to make that transition a little bit easier on him.
You're right. And at number 2, the Redskins decided to go with RG3. Now, RG3 is athletic. He's explosive and elusive. He runs a 4.3. He has a strong arm. And considering the Redskins have not been experiencing that much action these past few seasons, he's going to bring excitement to that franchise and take them to a new level.
Well, when you look at what the Redskins have done this offseason, they've made this place as quarterback-friendly as they could. I mean, think about it. They already have Fred Davis, who's great, and they've brought in more receivers. And then if you look at the quarterbacks that Mike Shanahan has had success with in the past, they're all athletic, just like RG3.
Yes, and at number 4, the Vikings decided to go with Matt Khalil. Now, Matt Khalil is perfect for Minnesota. Christian Ponder, as we know, spent a substantial amount of time on his back last season, but this pick, Matt Khalil, is going to shore up their offensive line and is going to allow Ponder to do what he does best, and that is be a great passer. He's going to assist in their blocking.
Now, they're trying to build this offense, like you said, and they have to. If you look at all the great offenses in the league, that left tackle is so important because that's the blind side for the quarterback. But another guy who's going to be happy that he's there is Adrian Peterson, because this is a guy who's been hitting the backfield more than any other running back in the NFL. And, yeah, he gets through a lot of the tackles because he's just so talented, but they're starting to wear and tear on his body.
Yes, and the Dolphins at number 8 decided to go with Ryan Tannehill. Now, Tannehill was a bit untraditional at the quarterback position, considering that at his time during A&M, he spent roughly 2+ years as a receiver there. But his stats at the same time are impressive. He's got roughly 3,700 yards, 29 touchdowns, and his passing percentage is 62, and that as well is impressive. But accuracy is a key factor when assessing NFL quarterbacks, and this is going to be one of the things we have to look at. This is a risk because, as I mentioned, he's been 2 years at another position, so we just got to see how this plays out with the Dolphins.
I really just don't like this pick. The Dolphins just told the rest of the league what they're thinking. They are not trying to win right now. They just aren't. Because Tannehill, they know, the scouts know, he is not going to be ready within the next 2 to 3 years. This guy is a developmental prospect, but he's going to be thrust in the starting lineup. If you were looking to win now, you trade down and take a Brandon Weeden, a guy who's ready to come in now. And Tannehill's just not that.
Yes, but, you know, experts say that he can, in fact, take that team to pro-style offense.
They said Jamarcus Russell could too, but look at him, not in the NFL.
Good point.
Okay, I want to take a look at the top of the draft again, and I want to look at the Cleveland Browns at 3 where they selected Trent Richardson. And, I mean, this is a great pick for what they're trying to do. They're trying to build their team the right way. They understand they don't have the talent to throw a young quarterback in there and, you know, mess him up for the rest of his career, so they get a solid running back who they can depend on. But as legend and former Browns players, Jim Brown said, he's just ordinary. The guy's not overly strong. He's not overly fast. He just kind of goes out there and gets the job done. He understands he's a patient runner, and he's going to put up numbers, but nothing too spectacular.
Yes, he is a patient runner, but he's durable, and he can handle a full season of carries. This guy is going to shore up their running game, and I think that he couldn't have ended up in a better place because if he hadn't been picked by the Browns, he would have certainly got scooped up by someone else and quickly.
All right, let's head down to pick 6 where your Cowboys pick, and you got to look, they traded up to get Morris Claiborne, and I have to think that some of the problems the Cowboys have had in recent years in getting put out of the playoffs or not making it to the playoffs is because of their secondary. And this is a rare talent. Morris Claiborne, he's going to come out and he's going to compete every Sunday. He has the best ball skills we've seen in the draft in years. He's going to be in the tops in interceptions year in and year out. And he's going to be able to man cover guys like Larry Fitzgerald every Sunday. And you don't have to worry. And with the release of Terrence Newman, you have to think this was a definite must for the Cowboys.
It was a must. And, you know, many people disagree with Jerry Jones' decision-making process, but this decision in picking Claiborne was a sound one. He can easily fit into a Rob Ryan 3-4 defensive scheme. He's got great speed. He's very explosive, and he could easily start there with the Cowboys this season.
Oh, yeah, he's going to have to start early because as a corner, it's really important that they learn early that you have to leave what happened on the field. You're going to get burnt. You're going to get beat. This is the NFL. No one's perfect. But you have to understand that was last play. This is a new one. Now, I want to head down the draft a little bit all the way to 22 where the Browns picked again because they got from the Falcons last year, Brandon Weeden. As I said earlier, this guy's pro-ready. Yeah, he's 28, but look at his numbers in college. The guy is going to come into the NFL, and he is ready to win. He's going to give you at least 6 good years, and you pairing him with Trent Richardson, that offense is going to be good. The Browns are building the team the correct way.
Yes, and one of the things I like about him is that he can look over that O-line and deliver those passes.
Yeah, it's extremely important. All right, and then I want to advance a little bit farther down this draft, and I want to go to 30, where the 49ers just picked wide receiver A.J. Jenkins from Illinois. Now, I can't say that I'm a big fan of them reaching on A.J. Jenkins like this. He's a solid kid, but he gets to top speed extremely fast. He's not anything flashy. He's not going to be a 1 or 2 receiver in this league. He's a slot guy. But at this point in the NFL, you're going to need a slot receiver who can come out and put up yards. So he is good in that aspect. But they've already brought in, you know, Mario Manningham this offseason and Randy Moss. So they're definitely revamping that wide receiver position. And he's going to be a talented kid, but I think it's going to be pressed, and it might be a little bit before he's really prepared to contribute.
Well, he's definitely a compliment to the team, and he's going to show off that receiver core there with the Niners.
Yeah, it is hopefully going to make Alex Smith look even better than he did last season.
Of course.
All right, well, that's all the time we have for today's show.
Remember to follow us on Twitter at FTP_tweets.
And you can subscribe to our YouTube page at youtube.com/FromThePressBox.
And also like us on Facebook.
And I just feel like we're forgetting something more.
We are. We actually have our moment in sports history. In 1964, the Boston Celtics won their 6th consecutive NBA title. They won 2 more before the streak came to an end.
Well, thanks for tuning in to today's show. And don't forget, she's Lauren Fluker.
And he's Jamal Williams.
And this is From the Press Box.
You know, this draft, I've got to say, this was